and let us all do we can to build a better future. Get ready to Biden it up, folks. Turns out Joe Biden is in a little bit of a quandary here. He's in a quandary here, my friends. First of all, as this is just a follow-up on how Rashida Tlaib has been urging Democrats to vote against Biden in the primary. Michigan is a must-win for Biden because it's a main primary state, and also it's a key electoral college state. Biden is losing his supporting base, and many of the people there in those communities, especially in Michigan, have every right not to vote for Joe Biden because Joe Biden has let people down. Ask the people of East Palestine, Ohio. He visited them and was there. Hello, goodbye, and he farted away.
So for months, the Arab and Muslim communities in Must-Win, Michigan have said they are angry with the Biden administration over the president's repeated refusal to call for a ceasefire in Gaza. And in a video posted on X, Democratic Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib encouraged them to bring those criticisms to the ballot box during next Tuesday's primary.
Right now, we feel completely neglected and just unseen by our government. If you want us to be louder, then come here and vote uncommitted.
Joining us now, NBC News correspondent Dasha Burns to talk more about this. This is something they want to drive home. They want this point to be made to the Biden administration because they want them to make a decision about what's happening between Israel and Gaza. They're calling for essentially a ceasefire by leveling this vote of uncommitted. What more are we learning about these efforts and how much Michiganders are on board with it, especially the Arab American community?
Well, Tlaib is joining a wider effort to do this uncommitted vote. And to be clear, this isn't an effort to sideline Biden from the nomination. It's not an effort to hurt him in November. It's an effort to make their voices heard. She went.
No. I'm sorry. You cannot just tell me that this is just look. Rashida Tlaib, Representative Tlaib, I get what you're coming at, right? But there's a lot of groups out there that are righteously angry at Biden and his failures, all right? And already, by you coming out, so many people in the liberal establishment are saying, how dare you do this? Well, first of all, this isn't just one House representative saying this. What we're seeing here is a Democrat politician swooping in, trying to tell people to be angry, but come general election, please vote for Biden. That's what she's going to tell them to do. Now, I understand the passion. Maybe some part of her is being authentic. I'm going to be that generous. And I know a lot of people are going to be upset at me saying, oh, why are you being that generous? Because maybe she still has some human emotion about what's happening in Gaza. But the thing is, if you are going to tell people not to vote for Biden, then go all the way in. Go all in and say, hey, Biden, you failed us. You're not going to get the support. Hey, Biden, you kept on lying to us. You're not going to get the support. Hey, Biden, last I checked, you're the president of the United States, a global superpower. You know, theoretically, you do have some weight and pull, and you could tell Netanyahu, stop it, or actually use your power to stop it.
You know, she could leave the Democratic Party, too.
She could do that, too. Oh, good point. Oh, great point right there. Let's continue on
to say in that video that it's important to create a voting bloc, something that is a bullhorn to say enough is enough. And it's particularly powerful in Michigan because this is a state with a large Arab American population. They have not been happy with how the Biden administration has handled this. And remember, Michigan is a must win for Biden. He won it by a very small margin in 2020. Trump won it in 2016. And they're going to Michigan to say, hey, we actually have power in a state like this. We could make an impact. So you got to listen.
Can we talk about the impact here? Yeah. Because when you think about the Arab,
no, we don't need to talk about the impact.
20, the turnout was.
Go ahead, go ahead, say it.
We don't need to talk about the impact. Like, you guys aren't even showing the goddamn bombings. Okay, you won't show what Gaza looks like anymore. You won't show the kids that are running in the streets, the people who are holding up fucking white flags that are getting killed. The doctor who said that he found 7 babies with single shots to their foreheads. Like, they want this. Like,
I know.
The whole thing. It's so, let's talk about the theater of nonsense while we actually are funding and allowing and openly not criticizing. Now, again, Rashida Tlaib is Palestinian. This is incredibly personal to her. And how she can't leave, how she chooses to not leave the party over this. Look, she's got enough funding and enough backing and enough name recognition with 2 terms in Congress plus already. She doesn't need the Democratic Party. She doesn't need that D next to her name.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand it. My answer is none of the above. And
Yes.
see, this is the thing that I think what our revolution and what these people did was they seized on a narrative. What we're saying is popular. What we're saying makes sense to a lot of people. And they're using it to try to capture that narrative, to try to use that language, but then steer people back to Biden in the end. It's gross. And it's exactly what Democratic co-opting does.
I understand completely. Now, I also want to pull up this video here, too, where Charlemagne the God discusses the difference between Democrats and the GOP. Now, of course, Charlemagne's going to be critical of Biden, but at the end of it, it's still Trump's a threat. Trump. And I got to say, if there's a talented animator out there, listen to my story once again. Thunderclouds in the background. A whole bunch of liberals are there watching Rachel Maddow on TV. One liberal looks out the window and sees a strange man on the hill, lightning in the background. He's holding something in his hand. The camera zooms in. It's Trump. He has an axe, and he's getting closer and closer to the house. The liberals are there just listening to Rachel Maddow. They're panicking. They're eating their gluten-free organic food that's also vegan at the same time. And then all of a sudden, the liberal looks out and looks at the window again. And oh my God, Trump's right there by the door. He kicks it down. They panic and they all start running around like a Scooby-Doo episode. Trump's chasing them down the street. He's chasing them down Fifth Avenue. He's chasing them in Trump Tower. And as the liberals are screaming and panicking, they stop and realize Trump isn't chasing them anymore. He's in the White House, smiling with the axe in his hand. If there's a talented artist out there, you know, I'm pretty sure somebody could do that. But anyways, let's go ahead and pull up this video here. Charlemagne, tell us why Biden's a screw up, but also why we need to support Biden again because Trump.
The crooks are the Republicans, the cowards are the Democrats because they don't fight hard enough on anything. And, you know, the couch is voter apathy. And, you know, that's who everybody is up against in 2024. And right now, it feels like the couch is going to win. I don't know who that benefits, you know, by the couch winning, but it feels like the couch is going to win.
Well, do you get blowback from the White House? Because you, even now in this conversation, you're very tough on Biden. So when you say something critical, do you hear from him?
Yeah, and I think that's the stupidest ever because I think that, I'm sorry. But
we can bleep that
out.
Yeah. I think that's the stupidest shit ever. Well, yes. Why are they calling a radio DJ for criticizing him? It's embarrassing. They're trying to control and shape narratives so badly. And and people are completely blind to this still. They think that the Republicans try to influence and propagandize as if the Democrats aren't completely trying to steer one narrative in conversation and block everything else from even being heard.
Precisely.
Because I feel like you should be able to criticize whoever your elected official is, right? And even if I do criticize them, I'm criticizing them because of what I see coming up in November. I see what we're facing. So what I'm saying to them is, where is the sense of urgency? You can't keep saying that there's a threat to democracy, and democracy as we know it is going to be gone, but not act like it. And the other problem is they've always done this with every single Republican candidate. Since I've been alive, whoever the Republican presidential candidate has been, they've demonized. It doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter if it's John McCain. It doesn't matter if it was, you know, Mitt Romney. It doesn't matter who it is. They will demonize the Republican candidate. And now that there's an actual legitimate threat right there in our faces, they're like the party who cried wolf. Nobody believes them.
Do you think Trump's going to win?
I don't know, but that's what's scary about it, right? Because when you look at everything he's done, right? Attempted coup of this country, put the Supreme Court judges on who...
this attempted coup. He didn't do that. Also, number two, the Supreme Court justices. Well, here's the thing. Now, okay, yes, Trump did put in these Supreme Court justices, but all this could have been avoided if maybe the Democrats had a backbone and actually didn't think that they had it all in the bag. If you were politically astute, you do everything you can to maintain your power, even if you should potentially, however unforeseen circumstances, possibly lose. Because, you know, Obama could have told Ruth Bader Ginsburg, all right, time to wrap it up. I mean, she was already in her late 80s, mid 80s. She already had a lot of health problems. It was already a liability. But because what? You didn't want to tell a woman what to do? Well, sometimes you got to tell people, hey, you're the setting sun. It's time to go. Just in case this ship sinks, I need you out of here. He could have, in theory, even pushed his Supreme Court nominee that he wanted in, but was going to wait for Hillary Clinton to put in. He could have done that. He could have secured and maintained the liberal, quote unquote, advantage in the Supreme Court if Obama really wanted to. He really could have maintained that power, but he didn't. He chose not to do it, and that's why we're in this current situation, which is why we are seeing people panic about the Supreme Court justices. But know this, that the Democrats could have avoided this situation, and because Roe v. Wade was not codified under Biden, because Roe v. Wade was never even codified under Obama during his time as president, and Democrats now are out there saying, hey, support Biden, support the Democrats because we care about a woman's right to choose. And they don't.
Who got rid of Roe v. Wade takes credit, says, I am the one who got rid of Roe v. Wade. Me. I did that. When you see all of that, it really shouldn't be close, right? But when you have a candidate like President Biden, who the polls are, saying had the lowest approval rating ever, and, he'd lose to a general election and a Trump, that's scary. That's where these conversations are coming from, where they're like, yo, you might need to step aside and put somebody else in there. Because, my fear is that the election is going to be close, right?
You've got a very powerful voice. You've got, incredibly influential show. You've got an audience that Democrats especially crave. And obviously, Nikki Haley.
And the Democrats need that audience because they need all the black people to fall in line with the neoliberal message, right? That's what you're trying to say there, BSDNC. Or wait, correction, it's ABC. ABC News this week. ABC, owned by Disney. Disney, may you blow up and collapse under your own weight.
Haley coming on, Republicans as well. Are you going to be using that voice to try to affect this election?
I'm going to tell people exactly what I'm seeing. I'm not going to endorse anybody, but I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm seeing. And what I'm seeing is, democracy really on the brink, right? Like this is, I would tell my listeners exactly what I'm about to say right now.
God.
For years, they've told us that, these people are threats to democracy. This person.
Who's a threat to democracy? What people are a threat to democracy? All right. Trump has every right to run for office, just like a libertarian, green, socialist, independent, Democrat, and yes, Republican. Who's a threat? What's a threat to democracy? Why even have democracy if you're going to view your opponent as a threat to it? I've heard this so many times now, it's lost meaning. Indy, your thoughts real quick.
We lost democracy a long time ago. It's been captured by corporate interests.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been fear-mongered. It's really sad. He's bought into this narrative of one side is white supremacist, whereas both sides are supporting and funding and not fighting actively the white supremacy. So, yeah, and they just they spent $150 billion funding neo-Nazis in Ukraine and just voted to give another $60 billion. So tell me how Democrats aren't funding fascism.
Well, hey, vote blue no matter who.
It is absolutely a threat to democracy.
That sounds like an endorsement. I mean, it sounds like you're saying endorse not Donald Trump, which, as you've said, it's going to be Biden.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that's an endorsement. I'm just simply telling people
he's going to endorse Biden. I promise you.
What is going on out there? Because I'm going to speak the truth about Democrats too. Because I feel like if you lie to people about Democrats, they won't believe you when you tell them the truth about Republicans. So if I lie to people about what I see with Joe Biden, they're not going to believe me when I tell them the truth about what I see with Donald Trump. So all you got to do at this point, and I hate to say this, but why do we keep having to say this? Pick your poison. One poison might send you to the hospital for a couple of days.
Oh my God.
Will absolutely kill you.
No, poison is poison, man. No, I don't have to be part of the two-party system and contribute to it at all. I don't have to be part of that sick system at all. I don't want to contribute to neoliberalism. I don't want to contribute to the two-party choice.
Both of them sent you to the hospital. They
both of them, yeah, and
both of them wanted to
kill.
do mandates. Both of them wanted to do jab mandates, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know we're on YouTube here, but
yeah, no, it was the whole thing with the pandemic. But look, there's another thing too. Both politicians are part of a two-party system owned by banks, Wall Street executives, hedge fund managers, the people who control everything. So the thing is, no matter how you view it, there's only going to be a handful of sycophants or people who are hypnotized by voting Democrat, Republican that are going to dictate how the rest of the country is going to run the next 4 years. Okay. And a lot of people have unfortunately been brainwashed by our corporate media. I am grateful to say that there is the potential of a great awakening in which, again, many Americans identify themselves as independents, but we do not have to be bullied into a system where, oh, if you don't vote for Trump, you're bad. Or, oh, if you don't vote for Biden, you're bad. This is a click, copy, paste of 2020. These are the two oldest men running for office. It's two old men fighting over a cold bowl of soup. It's two old men who only are running because of their ego. Now, I don't like what the establishment's doing by kicking Trump off ballots in certain states, or either that with all this attempt of saying that he's the threat to democracy. Democracy has been destroyed thanks to our Supreme Court with Citizens United and McCutcheon's decision, which they ruled on, where money is speech and corporations are people. But I'm not going to sit here and turn Biden into a saint. And get ready for every single celebrity, talk show host, podcaster, everyone to be screaming from the rooftop, we got to help out Biden because he's better than Trump. I can't wait for the DNC convention here in Chicago. I really wonder if they're going to go all in for Biden. I really have to wonder. Indy, I want to give you the closing words, man.
Corporate media. Fuck corporate media. They always manage to get it wrong. Their pundits are, use their talking points and have already been fear-mongered. So it's not even necessarily Charlemagne's fault. He's in a position where, as a radio host and where he's been and where he is, this is the world that he sees, and this is the news that he's been fed. It's not his fault. The problem is that, Nick likes to say that the United States is the most propagandized country on earth. I would say, at least in the West, I would contend that Israel is just as propagandized, if not more, and they don't claim to even have a free press. But it's, they don't, I don't think that he really sees this viewpoint or has access to it or is seeking it. Because if you're not looking for it, it's really hard to find. It doesn't find you, thanks to the YouTube algorithm, thanks to the Twitter algorithm, thanks to all the sycophants around him that are already pushing the Biden narrative, that are pushing the duopoly narrative, that are pushing the fear-mongering narrative. He makes a lot of money for all of those people staying within that ecosystem. So the one thing I will say is that I did hear him kind of try to say none of the above. Like, he's fear-mongering Republicans suck, but he's starting to realize, wow, Democrats are really bad too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So what more can be said about the Biden and the Democrats is they're going to be desperate. They're going to be reaching out to voters. And the thing is, even the most diehard cheerleaders that they had in 2020, even they know that lying to their people isn't going to earn them much respect. Everyone sees it. Everyone talks about it. And you can't lie to people because people eventually are going to realize, hey, you're full of shite, and they're not going to give you any more attention. So everybody that was part of the Biden camp of 2020, tell me again, what's your overall great stratagem or tactic? Because Brother Biden doesn't have what it takes. He doesn't know his ass from a hole in the ground. He is as senile and demented as it can get. And Kamala is no, it's no front runner either. Okay. She's less popular than him. So vote blue no matter who. These are your two fighters. You roll with it. But I tell you what I'm going to do on election night. I'm going to cook a nice ribeye steak, Indy. That's what I'm going to do. A nice, delicious ribeye steak. It's going to be delicious, man. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome.